You're born in the 11th century in Constantinople, Byzantine Empire. Immediately, your father is told you're a girl. He doesn't speak for the rest of the day. He was expecting a boy, and unfortunately, that wasn't you. Still, he accepts you as his. You grow up in a house that is comfortable enough to have marble floors and cold enough in winter to make them miserable. Your family sits somewhere in the middle of Constantinople's endless hierarchy, noble enough to attend the right ceremonies, obscure enough that nobody particularly notices when you leave them. Your father has a son already. He just wanted more. Your brother gets tutors. He gets military training. He gets taken to meetings and taught what men discuss when women aren't in the room. You, on the other hand, get scripture, embroidery, and instructions on how to sit, speak, and enter a room without drawing the wrong kind of attention. By the time you turn 13, your father is already receiving visitors. Among your peers, you're the first to get one, and you blame your beauty for it. You already know this, when men who sit with him in the outer room leave while staring at you with hungry eyes. Years go on like this, with your father expertly deflecting every proposal. You're now 15. Your beauty is even more pronounced now, and the proposals are in the hundreds. You wonder why your father hasn't gotten rid of you, but you know him so well that you know he's definitely waiting for something. One morning, a palace official arrives at your door carrying a rolled proclamation and an expression of bureaucratic indifference. Turns out, the emperor is taking a wife. Noble families across the empire are invited to present eligible daughters for imperial consideration. Your father reads it twice. Then he looks at you across the room with an expression you have never seen on his face before, something between relief and calculation, and says, "Fix your hair." You don't know yet whether this is the best thing that has ever happened to you, or the worst. 3 months later, you're in Constantinople. You are one of the final 12 girls standing in the line of the Palace of Daphne, wearing your best clothes and a gold ribbon in your hair. The other girls around you have been through months of preliminary screenings you never sat for. Officials reviewing family records, physical descriptions assessed by palace clerks, thousands of names reduced to hundreds, then dozens, then 12. You skipped all of it. Your father knows people. This is the only explanation anyone gives you, and it is enough. You do not know what to expect as nobody tells you anything. You try to ask one of the other girls, but she ignores you completely. You don't blame her. After all, you're all rivals right now. Then the doors open, and the emperor's mother enters. She moves down the line and stops in front of you. She lifts your chin with 2 fingers, checks your teeth, runs her hands through your hair, and holds the strands against the window light while muttering to the attendant behind her. You just stare straight ahead. She does it with the practice efficiency of someone who has done this before. One girl is dismissed for a birthmark on her neck, another for a slight asymmetry in her shoulders. You watch them leave, and you keep your face completely still. After she's done, only 9 remain. You're all then led into a side chamber. In the center of the room, you see a table. The table holds bronze calipers, measuring cords, small mirrors, ivory probes, and glass vials. Using the tools, palace maids measure your height, arm span, hip width, and chest. Then they check your skin for blemishes, smell your breath, and finally examine your hands and feet. You pass. One girl is eliminated for a crooked finger, another for hip measurements outside the acceptable range. You don't know how you feel about that. Now only 6 girls remain. You're soon all led to a curtainade alcove at the end of the chamber. There, a physician, a midwife, and a lady-in-waiting await you. The lady-in-waiting calls you closer, and then asks you to lie down on a bed. She holds you down, not gently, not unkindly, just firmly. You do not know what they want until the midwife reaches her hand under your clothes. Immediately, you realize what's going on. They want to verify your purity. You stare at the ceiling as you count the tiles. You even bite down on your lip until you taste copper as the sound that wants to come out of your throat stays inside. When it ends, nobody acknowledges what just happened. The lady-in-waiting steps back. The physician turns to his instruments. Through the curtain, he calls in a voice as flat as administrative record-keeping. Send in the next one. You walk back into the main chamber. You stand very straight as you keep your face completely empty because that is all you have left. When all the other girls are finally examined, the emperor enters. He has an easy smile as he walks the line slowly, but what really draws your attention is the golden apple in his hand. In Byzantine customs, a man hands a golden apple to a woman to signify that she is to be his wife. You promise yourself to get the apple as you crack a smile. But before you can regain your composure, he stops in front of you. Then he says something, a small provocation. You catch him watching your eyes as if to see what lies behind them. You have been measured, inspected, and examined for 3 hours, so you're irritated. Some truthful part of you wants to answer honestly, but the part of you that your father had trained answers correctly instead. Not because it's true, but because you understood, lying on that table, staring at the ceiling, that truth is not the point of any of this. It never was. Immediately after he hears your answer, he hands you the apple. A month later, your wedding festival is held. The festival is grand, but you can't stop thinking of how the night will go. Finally, night comes. Your wedding night has 40 men in your wedding chambers. The patriarch, the spiritual father of the empire, circles the bed 3 times with incense. In one corner, a grand chamberlain sits with a wax tablet. In another corner, scribes write. They will all be witnesses to your consummation. That night, you become the star of a show you never signed up for. As you undress, you see the so-called witnesses lick their lips. Even the patriarch watches with loud breaths. When you bleed, they all shout congratulations without minding you. The emperor even stands and turns to thank them. But through it all, you see one general that just doesn't take his eyes off you. You remember the look as the hungry one years ago. The next morning, the bed sheets are hung from the palace balcony while the crowd cheers in the plaza below. 2 hours after that, you are painted white to hide your paleness, dressed in fresh purple silk, and paraded through the palace to receive the congratulations of every man who was in that room last night. You smile through all of it, gracious, grateful, radiant, the perfect Empress of the Byzantine Empire. Years pass as you turn 18. The truth is, you're still learning what it actually means to be an Empress. As a woman, even though you're the Empress, you stay in the gyneconitis, the women's quarters which are far away from the main palace. It is there you receive the wives of court officials and formal audience, while your husband receives their husbands in a different room. You attend banquets separately. You have ladies in waiting who serve you and report on you simultaneously. You also have eunuchs who are your only bridge to anything happening on the other side of the palace. On the outside, it looks like power. From the inside, it looks like a very clean prison cell. With not much to do, you spend your time studying. You study the women who came before you, previous empresses, the ones who played the game perfectly and still end up in convents with shaved heads and no legal identity. The ones who accumulated too much influence had their noses amputated as administrative procedure. You even learn about the Empress who blinded her own son, ruled alone, and has been made a saint for it. You read between the lines of every story, and what you find is the same lesson written over and over in different handwriting. Be ordinary and invisible if you want to die a natural death. You make your decision one evening, while watching a eunuch carry a message out of your quarters toward the other side of the palace. It is not traumatic, and that's what you want. You will be invisible, quiet, boring. You'll become the least interesting empress Constantinople has ever produced. You will smile at the right moments and defer at the right moments and give them absolutely nothing to write about. Hopefully, you'll be allowed to die a natural death. You are 20 when the mornings start to feel raw, not painful, just off. A groggy heaviness that doesn't feel the way tiredness should. You try walking it off. It doesn't walk off. Then one morning, you vomit into a basin, and that seems to signal the midwife as she appears at your door 12 minutes later. She looks at you like someone who already knows the answer before she sees the test question. When she checks you, she finds out you're pregnant. After breaking the news, she does the gender reveal test, the barley and wheat test. She asks you to put your urine over 2 bowls of seeds. They're then planted and watched daily by palace staff, who report the germination process to court officials like military intelligence. If wheat sprouts first, it's a girl. If barley sprouts first, it's a boy. Days later, the barley sprouts first. The next months are a dream to you. All your needs are met. Even the emperor's mother adores you. She is bedridden now, but always requests your presence now. So when your water breaks, she asks the maid to carry her to your chambers. The delivery is painful, but swift. And yes, it is a boy. When they place him in your arms, you check him the way the physicians checked you, quickly and thoroughly, looking for anything wrong. You find nothing. He is perfect. But he sells to the most dangerous thing you have ever held. A male heir shifts the entire political weight of the empire, and you have been paying enough attention to know exactly what that means. The emperor is not home for the birth. He is at war. The Bulgarians are pressing from the north and the Turks from the east. He sends word of his joy from a military camp 3 weeks right away. He comes back when your son is 2. He stays briefly and leaves again. It is during one of these numerous absences that one of your husband's most faithful servants appears at your door, eyes down, hands not quite steady, and tells you quietly that the emperor's brother has been building a faction for years. You find out that he's been gathering generals, moving treasury assets. He even places loyal men in administrative positions throughout the empire. Your husband knows, but the war takes precedence. He trusts himself to handle his brother when the time comes. You don't. You have read enough history to know that it's common for Byzantine emperors to lose their thrones, not on battlefields, but to the men sitting beside them at dinner. You also know what happens to the Empress after an usurpation. They usually end up in a convent or exile, or even end up marrying the usurper. The princes don't have it better, as they're usually castrated, blinded, or end up at a monastery. You look at your son, sleeping in the next room. You can't let that happen, so you start moving pieces. You are 26 when you receive unfortunate news from the battlefield. The messenger is dusty and won't meet your eyes. Somehow you already know what to expect, but you let him speak anyway. He tells you, the emperor has fallen in battle on the northern front. He explains the whole situation, and you let him finish. You thank him quietly, dismiss everyone in the room, and stand very still for exactly as long as you can afford to. 4 minutes later, you're on the move. Your first message goes out within the hour, dispatched under your husband's seal, which you have a copy of. You order the emperor's most loyal general to pull back from the eastern front and surround Constantinople immediately. You sign it in your husband's name. You choose him because he was the one that never took his eyes off you on your wedding night. The second move is the court. You have 2 hours before word of the emperor's death spreads beyond his inner circle. You use them wisely. First up, you convene an emergency session. You address the court with your son beside you, and a legal document sealed by the emperor's seal. You read it aloud in a steady voice. It says the emperor put you in charge in case of tragedy. You dare anyone in that room to say something? Nobody does. Your final and most important move is the general himself. You know he's loyal and ambitious. You also know he's smart enough to know that the Empress Regent is his fastest path to everything he wants. But you're also smart enough to know that this kind of loyalty has an expiration date, so you give him something harder to walk away from. Your body. He still has that hungry look around you, so it works. The Emperor's brother moves 3 days later and finds Constantinople already sealed. The army is already positioned, the court already aligned, so he backs down for now. But right now, the most powerful person in the Byzantine Empire is you. It feels nothing like you thought it would. It's like standing at the edge of something very high, looking down and understanding that there is no going back. Years pass as you govern the empire, actually governing, not performing governance. You do not stand while men do the work, but manage military campaigns through loyal generals, negotiate with foreign powers, and keep the treasury functional through taxation reform, and the kind of creative diplomacy that requires you to smile at people you would rather never see again. The patriarch requires handling. The aristocracy and the merchant class require constant balancing against each other. For some reason, each is convinced the other is the problem. You handle it. But what you're interested in is your son's future. He is 10, curious, loud, and already asking questions that have edges to them. You see him in the training yard before sunrise, sword in hand, training until his hands bleed. You can't help but smile when you see that. But sometimes, when he thinks you aren't watching, you notice he watches you with an expression you just can't put your finger on. Years pass, and he turns 14. On the day of his birth, he asks you when he will begin to rule. Not yet, you tell him. The time is not right. But just months later, the question comes again. This time, he words it differently. There are still enemies, you say, when it is safe. All of this is true. Unknown to him, he goes to war and returns, goes and returns. And each time he comes back, he arrives expecting something you are increasingly unwilling to give. A child, specifically a son. He does not say this directly, he's not a stupid man, but you see it in the way he watches your boy, measuring, calculating. You have been pregnant twice. Both times you handled it quietly in your chambers with only your most trusted midwife present. You know what a son by the general means. A rival claim. A slow-moving threat with a face you would have to look at every day. So you smile at him over dinner and keep scheming. Your son still asks the question, except this time it's with the exhaustion of someone who has been waiting for something his entire life. You tell him soon. You mean it. You also mean not yet. Not while the general still watches. Not while his uncle's faction still breathes. And not while there are pieces still in motion that only you can see. Years pass, and you turn 40. You're no longer the teenager who was led into the palace. Now you are the most competent person in the empire, and you know it. Your son has just turned 19 when he comes to your chambers unannounced. No knock, just the door opening and him walking in. Something in the way he is walking scares you, but you chalk it down as paranoia. He sits across from you. He doesn't greet this time. No formality, just exhaustion. He asks the question again. 3 years of asking. 3 years of not yet. The time isn't right, and there are still enemies has caused a rift between you two. You start to explain. The general, his uncle, but he's on his feet before you finish the sentence, and before you can react. You're on the floor. The guards at the door do not move. You call to them, but they look straight ahead. He tells you not to bother, that they're all loyal to their rightful king. He says he knows everything, that his uncle told him the truth of how you conspired with the general to let his father fall in battle. That you've been doing what Irene of Athens did, holding the throne and planning to hold it forever. He also says you're waiting for the right moment to get rid of him. You open your mouth to explain, but he already has a blade. You scream as he gouges out your eyes. But what breaks you is not the pain. It's his face. Not the rage, but the expression underneath it. A cold and satisfied smile. You see the face of a man who has solved a problem and is mentally moving to the next one. You've looked at that face every day for 19 years. You've held it in a delivery room when it was purple and screaming and entirely dependent on you. And now, the last thing you ever see is your son looking at you like you are something he has finally finished with. And it's with this thought that permanent and total darkness envelops you. Everything that happens after that is a blur, or, in your case, noise. Your wounds are treated while your chambers are locked, guards posted at all hours. Your son is crowned emperor within the week. You hear the fanfare from the dark of your locked chamber and catch yourself smiling. You're not entirely sure why. At yourself, maybe? At the specific absurdity of having spent 19 years outmaneuvering a general and a brother-in-law, only to be undone by the one person you never once considered a threat. You think that maybe you should have just let him have it at 16. Maybe. Soon your smile fades and you sit in the dark and listen to Constantinople breathe. The bells, the harbor, the distant sound of a city that has already moved on without you. And you think, at least it's still standing. That has to be enough. It isn't.